Understanding cultural relativism, embracing diverse perspectives. Introduction to the concept of cultural relativism. Cultural relativism is a fundamental concept in anthropology and sociology that postulates that no culture can be universally judged as superior or inferior to another. Instead, it emphasizes understanding and assessing cultures from their own internal framework of values, beliefs, customs, and norms. Cultural relativism acknowledges the inherent diversity and complexity of human societies, recognizing that each culture is shaped by its unique historical, environmental, and social factors. It challenges ethnocentrism, the tendency to evaluate other cultures based on one's own cultural standards. By adopting a culturally relativistic perspective, individuals can develop a deeper appreciation for the multitude of human experiences and promote tolerance, respect, and empathy across different cultural practices, beliefs, and worldviews. Cultural relativism is an anthropological concept that suggests that different cultures should be understood and evaluated based on their own unique standards and values, rather than being judged by the values of one's own culture. This approach encourages individuals to recognize and respect cultural diversity, allowing for a more inclusive and empathetic understanding of human behavior. The origins of cultural relativism can be traced back to the early 20th century works of anthropologists such as Franz Boas, who emphasized the importance of studying cultures within their specific contexts. Boas believed that culture is not a hierarchy, but rather an intricate tapestry of beliefs, practices, and customs that should be appreciated on their own terms. This shift in perspective has greatly influenced the field of anthropology and has contributed to a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of human societies. Cultural relativism is a philosophical concept that challenges the ethnocentric notion of one's own culture as superior to others. It emphasizes the idea that each culture should be understood and evaluated within its own context, rather than through the lens of one's own cultural norms and values. This perspective acknowledges the diversities and complexities of human societies, recognizing that what may be considered appropriate or acceptable in one culture may not be in another. By adopting cultural relativism, individuals gain a more objective understanding of different cultural practices, traditions, and beliefs. This approach not only encourages tolerance and empathy towards other cultures, but also provides a valuable tool for promoting cross-cultural dialogue and cooperation, essential in our increasingly interconnected global society. The idea that cultures should be judged based on their own standards and values is an intriguing topic worthy of discussion. Cultural relativism, as it is commonly known, postulates that we should refrain from evaluating one culture using the criteria of another. In this view, cultural practices and beliefs are shaped by historical, social, and environmental contexts, and it is within these parameters that judgments should be made. Proponents argue that every culture has inherent value and deserves respect in its own right. However, it is important to note that this notion also raises important questions about universal human rights and social progress. While appreciating the diversity of cultures is crucial, striking a balance between respecting cultural differences and upholding certain universal principles is vital for promoting equality, justice, and human dignity worldwide. Cultural practices vary greatly across different societies, and what may be seen as controversial or unacceptable in one culture can be considered normal in another. Examples of these cultural practices include body modifications, eating habits, and gender roles. Body modifications such as tattoos, piercings, or scarification may be widely accepted and valued as forms of self-expression in some cultures, while in others they may be seen as taboo or inappropriate. Similarly, eating habits that are considered normal in one culture, such as eating insects or consuming certain meats, may be met with disgust or disapproval elsewhere. Gender roles also differ greatly among cultures, with some societies adhering strictly to traditional gender roles, while others embrace more fluid or egalitarian views. Understanding and respecting these cultural differences is crucial in fostering acceptance and avoiding misunderstandings between people from diverse backgrounds. Cultural relativism has significant implications for human rights and international relations. This concept posits that there are no universal moral standards. Instead, moral judgments are shaped by cultural perspectives and varying beliefs. Such relativism challenges the ideas of a common set of rights and norms that transcend cultural boundaries. Critics argue that this relativistic view undermines the universality and enforceability of human rights, leading to cultural exceptionalism and the dismissal of human rights abuses in the name of cultural practices. On the other hand, proponents argue that understanding and respecting cultural differences is crucial for effective international relations and avoids imposing one dominant cultural perspective onto others. Striking a balance between cultural diversity and universal human rights remains a complex challenge for the international community. Cultural relativism, a theory that suggests cultural practices can only be understood within their own social context, has garnered criticism for its potential to justify harmful practices like discrimination and oppression. Critics argue that this approach renders moral judgment impossible, as it claims all cultural practices are equally valid. However, it is essential to consider the nuances and limitations of cultural relativism. While respecting diversity and promoting understanding, we must also acknowledge that certain practices violate universal human rights and ethics. Recognizing the significance of cultural differences does not mean we should condone practices that cause harm or perpetuate oppression. It is crucial to establish ethical frameworks that provide a balance between acknowledging cultural diversity and upholding basic human rights, ensuring the promotion of a just and inclusive society. The examination of the balance between cultural relativism and universal ethical principles is a fascinating and complex topic within the field of ethics. Cultural relativism posits that ethical standards are relative to each society, allowing for a multitude of moral frameworks and practices. On the other hand, universal ethical principles propose that certain values and principles are inherent to all individuals, transcending cultural differences. Striking the balance between these two perspectives is crucial in navigating the diverse and interconnected world we live in today. It requires careful consideration of cultural context while acknowledging the core values that should guide human behavior. By recognizing the importance of cultural diversity and yet upholding universal ethical principles, societies can strive towards a more inclusive and harmonious coexistence. In conclusion, it is imperative to acknowledge the significance of understanding and respecting various cultures, while also upholding basic human rights and values. Appreciating cultural diversity not only enriches our own perspectives and knowledge, but also fosters harmony and empathy among individuals and societies. By recognizing and valuing different cultural practices, traditions, and beliefs, we create an inclusive environment that encourages dialogue and mutual learning. Moreover, promoting basic human rights and values ensures fairness, justice, and equality for all individuals, regardless of their cultural or ethnic background. By embracing cultural diversity and advocating for universal human rights, we contribute to the creation of a harmonious and inclusive global community where every individual can thrive and live with dignity. Let us strive to build bridges across cultures, celebrate diversity, and work together for a more equitable and compassionate world.